Welcome back to the second part of Filmora's basic tools. In the previous lesson, we learned how to transform, crop, and use pan and zoom to change the footage we have and make it different from the way it was. So let's continue with the basic tools and have a look at how we can fix our videos before moving on to the more advanced tools that are at our disposal. We stopped at stabilization. The next is chroma key, which is green screens and all that. This is a bit more advanced because we need to learn how to use green screens, blend that in, color grade and all that. So we will not be learning about this in this lesson. We will in the further ones. We have lens correction. Let's open that up, turn it on. And we have the profiles that we need to select. So lens correction targets the distortion that is caught in clips at times. A lot of times you may get an effect on the edges, and you need to come over here and select a profile of whatever device you use to take this clip. And that way it would be easier for Filmora to fix the distortion for you. So sometimes when you shoot with your camera, especially with a GoPro, you can see most of these are GoPros, you do get a distortion in your clip, meaning that you have a slight fisheye effect. And to fix that, you need to come to lens correction, choose the profile that is suitable, and it will just fix the distortion for you. I will just select one of these, and you can see that it brought the clip closer. This was before. Then this is after, so it kind of stretched the edges for me. And then we can choose the resolution. Let me choose this, and you can make it wide. Let's go for this. It made it wider. You can go for narrow. Again, it changes the edges. Go for wide. And yeah, it depends on your clip. Sometimes you get distortion in your raw footage, so you would come here to fix that. You can adjust the level. If you add to it, you can see I'm pushing the edges of my clip further from me. And if I bring this back, you can see it's brought towards me. So pay attention right here at the edge. This is 0, negative 100. If I go to 100, it's pushed back. So this is to correct the view of your footage and fix any distortion that you may have caught with your camera. Let's turn this off. So this goes in one of the tools that you have to use before starting your edits, before color grading, cropping, and all that. If you do see the distortion in your clip, make sure you come here and fix it before you continue. Turn that off, and let's move on to drop shadow. So drop shadow allows you to add shadow to your clip. Let me get a sample color just so we have a background. I'll get this yellow one, and I will get let's go to Pixabay and get chroma key. We have some photos. Let's get this photo of this man, apply it right on top, and I can just turn this on. Get the green out. There we go. And I can also turn on drop shadow. I have shadows on what's left of my chroma key. You don't have to use chroma key images for this to work, but it works best with this. So if you're trying to make it look as if this person was on this background, using drop shadow helps with the presence and just makes it look more realistic. We'll get into the chroma key later. Let's focus on drop shadow now. We have distance, which moves the shadow away or towards your subject. Depends on where your supposed light source is coming from. We have blur. With 0, we get these sharp lines. If we add to the blur, we're blurring that shadow out. You want to keep it around 30, but again, it depends on how close the light source is to your character. So if it's really close, it would be something sharper, but if it's far, you would have to blur it out. Let's bring this back to 30. Then we have opacity, which is how intense that shadow is. 100% is black, but if you bring it lower, you'll get like a soft gray. And to make it realistic, you do need a softer look. We have shadow color, which you could use something that goes well on your background. If you open this up and couldn't find the color you want, you can go to more, pick screen color, get this, and we can just perhaps darken this yellow to make it look like the shadow. Let's make it a little bit more dark. And now it looks better. Adjust the opacity as you'd like, but it's a lot better than the black. So you can just get shadow color to make it look even more realistic. We have shadow direction. Right now it's on the character's left side or to our right side, but you could just change direction, below, above, top left corner, top right corner, and just adjust the shadow in a way that looks realistic. Okay, let's try this with a video. Maybe you don't have a green screen to work with. I will get this clip right over here, right on top. Let's double click or hit this icon. Come to transform and just scale it down so we can see the clip. I'm going to put it here. Maybe I want some text right here. Come down to drop shadow, turn it on, and we're getting the shadow of the text. Again, we have the same options. It's not different for whether you have it on an image or a video. You can just adjust it and use this drop shadow feature to create dimension or to make something blend in with a background like we did with the green screen model. Let's uncheck this and bring this guy back to what it was. Undo these two. And you can also hit reset if you want to reset everything you did here. And then finally we have auto enhance, which automatically enhances the colors and the tone of your image. Let's open this up. To do this in a more customized way, you have to go to Advanced Color Tools. We will get a in-depth tutorial on this soon. But if you just want a quick touch-up for your clip, you can just turn this on. And as you can see, it made it darker. This was before, this is after. You can change the amount, add to what Filmora decided, or remove from the intensity. So that was the stuff you get in the basic tab in video. We have mask, which allows you to mask your clip, only have a part of it visible. We have some shapes here. Maybe you want a star. I just have a star. I can use a star shape to highlight a part of my clip, like this guy's the star. You can use a rectangle, a circle. You can import your own shape, which would just be a PNG shape. You can just import that in or have none. Once you've chosen your shape, let me choose this guy again, resize it. I can scroll down and customize my mask. We can scale it in or out, rotate if needed, and these are keyframes. We'll learn more about keyframes, but essentially it allows me to have multiple settings in different times. So let me just turn on add a keyframe right here. So it's going to stay like this at this exact point. Then maybe around this time I want it to scale out. So you can see the animation of my star increasing in size is happening because I applied a keyframe. We will learn more about this in another lesson. Let's reset all keyframes. We have the position, X and Y. We have the blur strength, which blurs out the edges of your mask, like so. We have the width of your mask. We have the height. And we have the radius. If you want a sharper star, let's remove this. If you want a sharper star or a chubbier one, you can just use that. And we have invert mask. Right now, everything in the shape is visible, but if you want the exact opposite, you would just hit this, and now we're getting everything outside of that shape. If you want to keep these settings, you can hit Save as Custom. You can call it Polygon Mask. And now this is in my custom thing. I have a custom tab right here, and I have a polygon mask. Before we only had these presets. That's the mask tab. You can just hit none to go back to where you were. The next tab is color. We have color enhancements. These are different from what you get in here. You can use the auto feature. There we go. It changed the tone of my video and made it colder. You can add to the value or remove from the value. And you can add or remove from the threshold. You can use this if you don't know how to color correct your video. Remember, this is color correction. And we have white balance, which allows you to change the tone of your video. This was for the colors. These two are different. So for white balance, I can use it to make my video colder, or I could use it to make my video warmer. We have tints, allows me to go towards the greener side or the magenta side. You can also select, have the eyedropper tool, or just use the auto feature if you want. There we go, that's the auto feature. You can choose the whitest part in your video to balance those out. For me, that would be the light right here. We do have other whites, but like I said, pure white. So this is pure white. This is just white that has like a little bit of gray on it. Let's reset these settings for white balance. Coming down to tone, you can adjust the light of your clip. But like we said, this is not the advanced tools. This is just for a quick adjustment. But you get to add contrast to define the shadows and the highlights in a better way, add some dimension. If you remove from contrast, you're going to get something flat like this. Saturation goes for the colors. It intensifies those colors. You can see you got some nice greens and some blues. Remove from the saturation, you get an almost black and white video. Let's reset that. Brightness, as the name says, makes your video darker or brighter. We will learn more about these in another lesson. Let's uncheck that. Then we have 3D LUTs. These are presets for you to quickly color grade your clips. You can get new LUTs from Filmstock, which is a platform where you get additional elements for Filmora. You can get it from other platforms too. It doesn't have to be from Filmora. And you can just go for any of these to add a nice mood to your clip. Got some popular LUTs like Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Mission Impossible, and you can just use any of that to give your video a quick makeover. And then finally we have color match. This is something that we will get into later, but it just works for when you have one clip and you want the rest of your clips to look just like it in terms of color. So you can use color match. We'll get into this later. So in terms of basic tools, we've learned a lot so far. The next stuff are for the animations. If we double click, we get something that looks a little silly, but you can just use it. Let's have a look. Let's bring this here. You can choose an animation of how your video enters the screen. Slide right, and it just slides in here. We have the preset motions. Open that. So for the motion, you get even more presets of how your video enters the screen. You can use these if you want. The Customize tab is the new keyframing tab, which is available for Filmora 11. We will learn more about this in another lesson. It's a really great tool and it's going to help you out a lot. We also have speed, which will get its own in-depth tutorial, but it just deals with the speed of this video. So that is the basic tools that Filmora gives us. In the next lesson, we're going to take a look at the more advanced tools and see how you can use the things we've learned to edit your clips. You could just stick with the basic tools, but the advanced tools allow you to customize your final product in a better way. You get more options and you can just explore your creativity with the advanced tools. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I will see you in the next ones.